What did my teenager do that made my family call the cops on him? My son Malcolm threw his aunt onto the Thanksgiving dinner table in front of 20 family members. I was in the kitchen when I heard the crash and ran into the dining room only to find my sister-in-law Sharon sprawled across the destroyed turkey, sobbing hysterically while my brother Gunther had Malcolm pinned against the wall. He's insane, Sharon wailed, clutching her shoulder. He attacked me like an animal. The entire extended family was on their feet murmuring about calling 911, and my own mother sat frozen in her chair at the head of the table. Malcolm wasn't even fighting Gunther's grip. He just stood there with this strange little defiant smirk on his face. Get him out, Sharon screamed. Get that psychopath away from me. He could have killed me. Gunther started dragging Malcolm toward the door, and my husband jumped up to intervene, but 3 other relatives blocked him. Michelle, your son needs serious help, Gunther said to me. We all saw what he did. He pushed Sharon onto the table. He's not welcome here anymore. Malcolm, I said, pushing past my cousins to reach him before Gunther could shove him out the door. What really happened? Tell me the truth. He looked me straight in the eyes. No fear, no shame. Mom, you and Dad taught me that family protects family, that the strongest person protects the weakest. Sharon erupted from the table with sarcasm oozing from her voice. Protected? Great, so he protected me by pushing me. Let's give him a medal. But Malcolm wasn't done. Grandma had told me to go get her heart medication from upstairs, so I left her alone at the table because she was feeling dizzy. My mother nodded slightly from her chair. When I got back down, I noticed that Aunt Sharon was already here and standing above Grandma's head. Sharon's sobbing suddenly quieted. You said it yourself, she was dizzy, so I was just helping her. Shut your cranberry-covered mouth, you discount soap opera villain. Malcolm cut her off. Several relatives gasped at his tone. When I came back down with the medication, you weren't just helping her. You were leaning over her and holding her arm while papers were sprawled all over the table. This is insane. She just asked me to help her with some documents. No one is going to believe your lies, so you better leave. The room was quieter now, and everyone was waiting for Malcolm to finish. Grandma looked at me, and her expression instantly told me she was scared. That's when I noticed that those were legal papers in front of her. Sharon tried to interrupt again. He's just making all this up. I mean, seriously, you have such a vivid imagination. But Malcolm didn't stop. You looked up at me and panicked, and then you told me to just walk away because it was none of my business. But I couldn't leave Grandma when she obviously didn't want to sign whatever you had given her. Sharon's face was starting to go white. Then when I reached over to take the papers away, you grabbed them first and shoved them down your shirt. And when I tried to get Grandma up from her chair to take her somewhere safe, Malcolm looked directly at Sharon. You threw yourself backward onto the table. I never touched you. You looked right at me, said, "Now you're done," and launched yourself onto that turkey. Then others rushed in, and you immediately blamed me. The room temperature dropped as everyone looked at each other in confusion. We didn't know who to believe, but I knew my son would never lie. So I asked Sharon, where are those papers? Sharon's face went from white to red. There were no papers. This manipulative brat is making things up. But as she gestured wildly, several folded documents fell from inside her ruined sweater onto the floor. Gunther picked them up, his face going pale as he read. These are inheritance documents. He looked at Sharon with disgust. With only your name as beneficiary. Sharon lunged for the papers, but my husband blocked her. Mother was going to sign them eventually, Sharon shrieked. I deserve it. I'm the only one who visits. You barely visit once a month, my mother said quietly. Malcolm comes here every Sunday. She turned to the frozen relatives. I want Sharon out of my house, now. As Gunther escorted a screaming Sharon out, my mother walked over to Malcolm and touched his face gently. You saved me, sweetheart. Malcolm never asked the family for an apology for accusing him. He said protecting Grandma was worth it.